Every entrepreneur dreams of finding a blue ocean, an uncontested market space where customers are eager, margins are massive, and competition is non-existent. But that calm is temporary. High profit margins act like blood in the water, pulling in aggressive competitors who quickly turn that pristine space into a brutal fight for survival. Take the case of an industrial bakery that managed to break away from the pack. They invented a wildly successful preservative-free bread that stayed remarkably soft, and daily orders from convenience stores skyrocketed. This success caught the eye of a massive, well-funded competitor. Their strategy was brute force: send the bread to a lab, reverse engineer the exact recipe, and purchase the exact same industrial ovens used by the original bakery to flood the market with cheap clones. On paper, this scale and funding should have crushed the original bakery, but instead, the copycats' brand new ovens constantly broke down. Their waste numbers spiked, production costs spiraled, and the company collapsed. How does a heavily funded competitor, using identical ingredients and identical machines, completely fail to produce the same result? The answer lies in a business theory known as the resource-based view. Instead of looking outward to find gaps in the market, this approach forces us to audit a company's internal capabilities. Under this lens, assets fall into two distinct categories. First are tangible resources. These are the physical things you can easily point to or document, like a factory building, a specific model of oven, or a written recipe. These physical assets offer zero defense against a rival. If your entire advantage relies on a machine you bought, anyone else with a large enough bank account can simply buy the same machine and cancel out your edge. The second category is intangible resources. These are the invisible systems running behind the scenes: proprietary knowledge, intertwined software loops, and deeply ingrained company culture. These invisible assets are the actual survival mechanism of a business. You cannot write a check for 5 years of accumulated problem solving, and you cannot order a highly coordinated team dynamic out of a catalog. The copycat bakery failed because they spent millions acquiring the visible shell of the business, entirely missing the invisible engine that was driving the profit. To identify those true, uncopyable advantages, we can use a diagnostic tool called the VRIO framework. As you can see in this filter, we pass a company's assets through 4 distinct layers to see what survives. The first 2 layers filter for value and rarity. The original bakery used custom-built software that tracked production bottlenecks in real time. It saved money, and because it was highly customized to the specific humidity of their factory, it was extremely rare to find. But the real hurdle is the third layer, inimitability, or how hard it is to copy. A wealthy rival could easily hire a programmer to write similar tracking software. However, the rival suffered from causal ambiguity. They knew the original bakery was highly efficient, but they couldn't see how that software physically linked up with the daily, minute-by-minute operations on the factory floor. The software only produced results because of the social complexity on the factory floor. Over 5 years, the original bakery built a high-trust culture where line workers were trained to treat the machinery like their own personal property. No amount of venture capital can instantly purchase or install a 5-year-old human culture. This brings us to the final layer: organization. The bakery deliberately tied employee bonuses directly to the efficiency metrics generated by that software. They perfectly aligned human behavior with their technology. The mystery of the failing machines makes perfect sense now. The copycats' cloned hardware failed because it was completely severed from the invisible data loops and social culture required to make it profitable. This uncopyable web of internal systems is what legendary investor Warren Buffett refers to as an economic moat. A highly profitable business is a beautiful castle, but without a deep moat, like an uncopyable culture or prohibitively high switching costs, that castle is entirely exposed to invaders. Ask yourself this: if a billionaire wanted to destroy your business tomorrow, what is the single internal asset they absolutely could not use their money to replicate? Take a hard look at your operations. Is your core knowledge institutionalized into resilient, repeatable systems? Or is it dangerously localized, trapped inside the head of a single veteran employee? Aggressive innovation might win the initial battle for market share, but over the long term, businesses are ultimately protected not by what they sell to the world, but by the unbuyable internal systems of how they exist.